My name's Toby Follart.
I'm Vicky Law.
And I'm Josh Tucker.
For this project, our task was a video in which we describe the production skills we have learnt when we made the preliminary task, and then goes on to describe what we have learnt when we made our thriller film.
In the prelim task, we didn't really research or plan. It was kind of a spontaneous thing and we just went with it, so we didn't even have a shot list or storyboard. However, in the main task, we did have all of them, and we had meetings and made sure that we did a shot list and storyboard. We also did a voice thread which looked at our target audience, so we did a lot more research and planning into our main task than the prelim task.
For conventions in our prelim task, we didn't really think about mise-en-scène or things like location. However, in our main task, we went into a lot more detail and thought about things like mise-en-scène, breaking it down into clamps, so using costume, lighting, acting, makeup, props and setting. We also thought about 7 main conventions, thinking about the antagonist, protagonist, iconography, themes, enigma, setting and visual style.
The next step was the post-production once we had completed both the preliminary task and the main task. For the preliminary task and the main task, we used Premiere Pro, which is a basic editing software, and we both uploaded them onto YouTube. But for the main task, we used sites to include titles, and we included a lot more sound, which we either recorded ourselves or provided with them already. So we used sites like Adobe Sound Booth, Adobe After Effects, Photoshop, and we used the microphone to record our own sounds, which were labelled as non-diegetic and diegetic. So in the preliminary task, we had no titles, no sound, and our basic was just basic. So.
We only had a few camera skills that we had got told about, like match on action, shot reverse shot and 180-degree rule. The editing was very slow. We didn't really know anything about editing for meaning. However, in the main task, we got told about more camera skills. So we had the rule of thirds and depth of field, which made our thriller a lot more meaningful instead of just plain and boring. We also used quicker editing as well.
There are other things that we had to consider for our prelim task. There wasn't much that we could really do. We filmed it in school. We were sort of given the guidelines, and we had a script already set out and things like this. However, for the main task, we had to really push the boundaries and write down our own ideas. We also had to work well as a team, and we had to split either being directors or actors, and so being a director was tricky because you had to make sure that your actors were staying focused, and you had to try and get all the shots that you put on your shot list done, whereas being an actor, you had to make sure that you were staying focused and that you were taking on the feedback that your director was giving you. We had to think about creativity, obviously, because we actually had a variety of different settings that we could use, and we had to choose which one would be best for our thriller. Feedback was a big part in our main task. When we first started with our prelim task, we didn't get much feedback at all. We were sort of given the task and left to do it by ourselves, and then after finishing it, we sort of reviewed it. However, on the main task, after each section, after filming or a little bit of editing, we would get a feedback to improve and to upgrade and to see if we can make it better.
So looking back at both our preliminary task and our main thriller task, there's obviously, we've highlighted a number of changes and variations with it all. I mean, if you're looking from the reflection, I mean, if we looked at previous students' work, when it came to the thriller, but we had no idea of a prelim task. We were just handed the script, and the simple camera angles we used, the lighting, everything was basic, and compared to the main task when we had to consider our own ideas and create, you know, a storyboard or a mind map of different professional thrillers that we looked at. So the differences were key and were very big.